Yes, we are live. Rajni, over to you. I'm making you the host and Meeta Joshi, the co-host. Oh, Rajni, you will have to make Meeta Joshi the co-host because I have lost my hosting power now since I've made you the host as of now. So you will have to do that. Make Meeta Joshi the co-host as she needs to share some slides.
Yeah, I have made her co-host.
Okay, over to you.
Okay. So, namaste, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a spectacular show celebrating the 77th Independence Day of India, where we honor the glorious spirit of our nation. I am Rajnisha, your host for the evening, Deputy Director of Inspiring Indian Women for the Guwahati chapter, esteemed educator and passionate YouTuber. Let us embark on an extraordinary journey together and celebrate India's remarkable achievements. So we have with us Colonel Ramesh Chander Khatri, sir. He was a war veteran, main war of 1962 Indo-China War, 1965 Indo-Pak War, 1971 Indo-Pak War. He designed 1971 war as the tank commander, went inside Pakistan border, fought with them, captured and drove their tank in Indian border. The tank now is at Jodhpur. Can we have you on the screen, sir?
Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you. Well, today we are celebrating the 77th Independence Day. And we are also into, the country celebrating especially that last 25 years of the century of independence. Now, independence, is a subject which is very, very, difficult to explain what independence is, because it varies from person to person. What I take it, the independence is your, capability to protect, your capability to select, and your capability to reform or do something good for well-being for the society. Now, when I say select, it means that I can select anything which is legal, of course, and good for the society. And that is my education, my friends, my social circle, and my profession, whatever I want to select. And thereafter, you see that the society itself has to elect by itself that what kind of the administration, what kind of life, what kind of that they have to decide how the society will go. And thereafter is the well-being is again of the society, where we say that we are living good, we are living bad, or people are hungry, people are not hungry. So all these kind of things, that indicates that society, what level of society is there. We, the Indians, have suffered slavery for almost about 1,000 years. And at that time, there was no independence. The people did not have the opportunity to do anything. And again, they were, the ill or the terrible rituals that we had in our country. Education was not there. And, the food is
Dada will come later.
So all these things are there. So now we find that for the last 77 years that we have found we have actually not found, we have fought for it, our forefathers. They have fought for it and they have gained the freedom so that we are an independent society. And with this independence, and we also have some responsibilities towards the society. And we all combined shall ensure that we are making it better and better for everyone in this. And when we say this, it's
अपना friend है army वाला नहीं army नहीं air force this is air force retired air force army
no, I am from army, not from Air Force. We have probably the next speaker who is from Air Force. And we are really, you know, at the moment at a juncture where we are improving ourselves, we are improving the society, and all over we are. That hunger that used to be there earlier, the illiteracy that used to be earlier, and other ill rituals, the bad rituals, those things are going. Though they exist somewhere in the country, some parts of the country. And we, the Indians, have to protect our independence because our neighbors, they really do not have goodwill towards us. So that protection that we have to provide is we have to be strong enough, and we have a deterrent, sufficient deterrent, that others don't dare to look at us with the ill will. And this deterrent will be created by us by making us stronger. If you see the past history, we were not really strong enough, and the Chinese mauled us very badly. And thereafter, the government, the country became more, became better, in fact. And there are, and now we are in a position whereby we can really break the nose of the enemy. And that is what's required so that the enemy doesn't dare to have a look at you. Though when we see our neighbors in the West, they thought the deterrence, that deterrence is, and they said that we will eat grass, but we will produce the nuclear weapons. Now they're really eating grass. So you have to see, because the nuclear weapon, except in the 1945, that is the Nagasaki and Hiroshima, nobody has ever used it. And I can assure you, it will not be used ever again. The Holocaust that the world has seen for these two towns, which were razed to the ground, and the damage which was caused to the humanity there. So that kind of thing is not going to happen again. But we are still, as a deterrence, manufacturing nuclear weapons, be it superpowers or be it, and not only that, but the countries which are not having a capability to produce the nuclear weapons, they are also trying to procure these somehow. Now, a thing which is not going to be used, everybody knows, they will threaten that I will do this, I will do that. But practically, it is impracticable for anybody in the world. Even the lunatics, they shall also not be able to use the nuclear weapons practically. So it is only a threat. But look at the threat, the cost which is going. The cost to manufacture these nuclear weapons which are not going to be used. They are only piled up. And when the disposal is required, it will be a major effort again. So the strength that country should have is in a way that it can manage its freedom. It can manage its people who can, they should be able to take care of the society, but not waste money on these nuclear weapons, which are not going to be used. These funds, these can be utilized for other purposes where it is required by them. Now, I've been asked to give out some incidents of the war. Well, I have been in 1962 Indo-China War. I was that time at Leh, but the Chinese did not touch the Leh township area, and little earlier than reaching, so they withdrew. They called the ceasefire. So practically, I can say that I didn't have a hand-to-hand fight with the Chinese then. 1965, yes, I was in Lahore sector, and with tanks, we had tank-to-tank battle with the enemy forces, and probably whatever we could do, maximum damage was caused to the enemy's Pakistani armor by us at that time. When I come to 1971, I was at a place in the desert, which is Longwall. And so this battle has become very famous because a very, very fierce battle took place there. On the morning of the 5th December 1971, the Pakistanis attacked our outposts at Longwall. They came with their tanks, and at that moment we were also going into Pakistan, and almost about 8 kilometers away. So we were actually surprised. That's the fact. So when that happened, I had gone at that time. I was standing behind the post, which was being really rammed by Pakistani tanks, as well as, the infantry effort was not really, they were not really in a mood, I should say, to attack our post. So we had our tanks there, light tanks, and here they had a T-59 tanks, Chinese made, which at that moment were the best tanks in the world. So they attacked our posts. We came with our, AMX 13 tanks, light tanks. The first shot by the Pakistani tanks blew up our AMX light tank. And at that time, our tank also fired on the Pakistani tank. And when they were fired at, the tank hit the Pakistani tank, and these people abandoned it in the way, that probably fearing that it may catch fire and they may get burnt alive. I was at that time about 300 yards away from this tank, and I can say I was in the sand about 200 meters above the ground at that moment, on the sand dune. So when I saw this tank's crew, they are jumping out. So I found it an opportunity to rush, got into the tank and started driving. We had at that moment, Pakistani tanks were hardly a few hundred yards away. I could see them. But because the tank which I was taking towards the Indian side, and I didn't have time, and I also didn't want to turn my gun back. Because if you turn your gun back, it means you're facing the enemy behind. So your own forces will, take it that it is a friendly tank which is coming. Whereas the Pakistani tanks would have, completely destroyed me. They would have fired me from the rear. So with our gun in front, I started moving towards our own forces, and tanks were there, our troops were deployed. They didn't know that who is coming there. And as soon as I found little safety, I opened Capola. Capola is, on the head, you are covered. So I opened it, took my head out, and raised my driver's seat as much as so that our own troops can see. Now there is a dilemma. Your own troops, not knowing that you are bringing a tank, and as the gun was facing them, they may presume somebody, and they can fire at you. And you have also the enemy behind who who doesn't know that it is the enemy, that is the Indian chap who is driving their tank away. So between this one, so there was a dilemma that you may be shot behind by the Pakistanis, or you may be shot from front by the Indians. But anyway, that action of mine by raising the seat to the maximum, opening the cupola, so that the people could see on the Indian side, because no enemy would do in the battlefield this action. So they didn't fire, and I took away this tank towards own side through our own troops. So that was the incident, which was at that time probably people thought that something great has been done, but I don't think there's anything great. It is your responsibility. You're fighting a battle, so you have to do whatever is best in your capabilities to do. So I took that tank away, and thereafter, that time there were no channels and all that. There were only the pressmen coming there. So they saw it, they were happy, they were given joy rides, on the tank. And so that is how this one incident which, that I can give out that yes, at that moment, some contribution by me to the battlefield was done at that moment. Thank you.
Well said, sir, and you have a very tremendous experience. And because of you all, we are celebrating 77th Independence Day. Otherwise, India's fate would be in some other's hand. So thank you so much for enlightening us with your experiences and your work and your dedication to the nation. Next we have veteran Air Vice Marshal PKH Sinha VSM, and aeronautical engineer electronics, has served Indian Air Force in various important field and staff appointments during his distinguished 35 years of career. He is trained on various Russian fighter aircraft like MiG-21, MiG-23BN, Su-30 MKI, ex-Russia, as GP captain during his CEO tenure of Air Force Station Pune, successfully Su-30 maiden flight of Restral President Abdul Kalam was conducted. In the rank of Air Commemorate, he held the coveted post of Air Force Commanding of Premier EW System Base Repair Depot. As an AVM, he held the prestigious post of Commandant of the Software Development Institute, Bangalore. Prior to his retirement in September 2018, he worked with Aeronautical Development Establishment DRDO as GM of their aircraft testing range, Chitradurga, for 6 months, and post-retirement served 3 years as advisor of Bharat Electronics Limited till September 2021. He is a postgraduate from IIT Kanpur and an alumnus of Defense Service Staff College, Wellington, and is a recipient of Presidential Award of Vishishta Seva Medal in January 2016. Currently, he is serving as Strategic Advisor of IIT Mandi and also is a Director of iHub and HCL Foundation, a section and company of IIT Mandi. He is an active member of think tank called Center of Knowledge Sovereignty India. So may we have you on the screen?
Thank you. At the outset, let me thank Inspiring Indian Women Organization to have me on this platform, and salutation to all the beautiful, the powerful Nari Shakti. It's a tremendous. And thanks, Madam, for reading out the whole biodata. Of course, I can see my schoolmate Jignesh, who is lined up after me, I believe, and Meeta also. So, hi to everybody. I don't know, Rajni, what you want me to say? Do I say something from my experiences, or what do you want to, or do I give a sermon, or what do you want me to say on this 77th Independence Day celebration, 76th anniversary celebration, and it's a really proudful moment for all of us. Tell me, and then I begin. Rajni, what do you want me to say?
So I have a question for you. As an aeronautical engineer, what inspired you to join Air Force and contribute in the field of aviation? Can you share any significant milestone of achievements during your career in DRDO you are particularly proud of?
Okay, so you want me, unlike the war veteran Colonel Khatri, when I joined, incidentally, thereafter, we never had a major war. I joined in 1984. I went to training in 83, and then I joined. The first posting was in Tezpur on MiG-21 aircraft. And incidentally, while going, it was in August. And in those days, in 84, if you remember, I believe you are based at Guwahati. If you are, so you must be aware of Ulfa and all those agitation in those days. And from Rangia to Tezpur, my train took, it's hardly 80 kilometers. The train took 24 hours more than that because there was Bandh. So anyway, we reached the Tezpur, and Tezpur was my first posting, MiG-21, big this thing. But the interesting thing I will tell you, of course, not war, but we had a very, very eye-to-eyeball confrontation in 87. If you remember, something was called brass tack. And this was General Sundarji had that time chief of army had planned a very big exercise, and it started in Jan. It started in November, basically November 86. And I got married on 22nd Jan 87. And 24th Jan 87, I received a telegram stating that I have to come back and join because the thing has gone so high and the balloons had really was going to burst anytime. So we were recalled. And like you can see in the Indian movie that you get married and you are receiving a telegram, and then we had to rush, and then we had to go to deserts. And so I will just narrate one incident, how we work in the field. So in the field, for the technical officer, you have to prepare the aircrafts with your ground crew. And when you go, it is not a very routine work. It's very a different kind of work. You have to work in dispersed location. So if you can imagine a runway, so runway at various ends, you have got hardened shelter, and hardened shelter will enclose a aircraft. And for this aircraft, you have to do servicing, and the servicing has to be done in the night without any light, because the more the light in the night, you are exposing yourself to the enemy attack and all those things. So it's a very different kind of thing, exciting and very, very challenging also. Exciting and very, very challenging also. There is a feedback. I think somebody's mic is on, I believe. So, okay. So, yeah, now it's okay. And you said Abdul Kalam Sahab. I will discuss this part because this was very, very proud moment for all of us. This was a long back in 80, I believe in, no, 2006. 2005, I had joined after Russian training Su-30 MKI, and I was the chief engineering officer of the Pune base. And there, it was told that president will like to fly, and this president had a very, very ambition. And the president is from the ISRO, and Jignesh will tell about him later on. The president was very much interested to fly, and he become pilot. So it was his ambition, and it was his wish to fly Su-30 MKI in the trainer. So this was arranged, and we had a very, very tough time because with the president, no shortcuts, all the protocols has to be followed, and the president had to walk down. I remember in the night we were told that he has to walk down up to the whole tarmac, and it was a big distance. So golf cart was brought, and if your president sits in any vehicle, then you have to put the Indian flag and the Ashoka emblem. So in the night we had to ask the workshop to do all those things. So these are the challenges which we had done. And of course, there was you all are aware that we had a Kargil affair. And in that time I was in the my staff college, not directly participated. But yes, when I was in Korwa, I remember this incident when this was with HL. We were supposed to send as many as Jaguars and rotables equipments so that the Jaguars can keep pounding the mountains and keep dropping the bombs, and Mirages can fly. For flying them, they had to have the navigation aids. So I went to one of the HL shop and told the instrument chap that please, if you can produce as early as possible, because the whole thing depends on your shoulder. And then that gentleman told me, "Aap kya baat karte hain? How do you know? How do I know where this is used? I have never seen an aircraft." And I was shocked. Then I went to the chief engineering officer of Gorakhpur, which was the base of this Jaguar aircraft. And I told him Korwa was hardly 160, 200 kilometers far. So it was near Sultanpur. So I told them, okay, listen, please call these people of HL and show them. What I want to bring home in the point is that unless you motivate your people, until you tell them what their contribution is there, you cannot get the best of this. And one more point, last I want to reiterate is that you all are women organization, and we have got a very sound body of the women organization. We called it AFWA, Air Force Welfare Wives Association, and this is a very its name is Sangini, and they also like you all work for the mental health, for the support of the family, because it's always the spouses who are there to support the husbands. Even in the night, you have to go for the night flying. They are there to say that we will take care of the children, and you go ahead. If we go on detachment for many days, they are there to take care of every need. And these ladies, the beautiful ladies, the powerful ladies, take all the things themselves. They look after the war widows, and we have got a fantastic organization. In fact, the Army also has got, the Navy also has got. So all the organizations and similar like you. So I think right now this much is enough unless you ask any more question, Rajni. Thank you.
I have one more question for you. How was your expertise in aeronautical engineer? You have covered most of your points, but still I want to know, and what are the challenges you face when it comes to the technology advancement and innovative projects? And what do you think that India has launched correctly, which you would like to discuss? What important Air Force or what important technology should be implemented in India's defense system so that it can be a great achievement or it can be a great help for the country?
Very wide canvas and very wide scope question, Rajni. But yes, I will tell you 1, 2, 3 important things. We are progressing and we have come way ahead in the defense sector. Once upon a time, we were only the importers. Today, we are the exporters also. And countries are buying, especially BrahMos missiles, the hypersonic, one of the fastest cruise missiles from us, which is jointly produced with the help of the Russians. The challenging task, yes, when I was as a Air Vice Marshal, as the commandant of the Software Development Institute, there this weapon systems, we had to integrate. Now, I don't want to go much in the jargon, but I want to explain you that all these systems have got some again, Mike. It has to be integrated with the mission computer team, and mission computer works as a bus controller. It's going technical, but I just want to say that when these aircrafts are bought, Russians or any French from the French OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, they never give us the code. They never give us how to do this. So it becomes challenging on our part, our engineers, to decode it, then integrate it with the mission computer and do the trial. So these are all the challenging tasks which we had done. BrahMos, we integrated with Su-30 MKI. The Spice 2000, another powerful missile, air-to-surface missile, which was, if you remember, which was launched for the Balakot strike after the Pulwama attack. We went first time across the border, and thanks to this powerful government, we could teach the lesson to the Pakistanis. So these are the challenging tasks. What all should be there? Yes, we have to become much strong in the cyber domain. We have to become much strong in the space frontier, which of course with the help of ISRO, we are doing it. There are many space weapons which China is doing. We have to develop ourselves in not only in cyber domain, in the space domain, but also in the newer technology. So drones, we have to develop. Robotics, we have to develop. So yes, there are challenges, but we are progressing and we are on the right path. Thank you. Thank you. Rajni, you are not heard. You are muted. You are muted. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thanks so much, sir, for your experience, and whatever you have done for our country is really commendable. Because of you people only, we are celebrating 77th Independence Day. And having you on board today as a panelist is a privilege for me. And as a host, I would like to thank you. Give me some time. I'll come back to you. We have another speaker with us.
Thank you.
Bhatt. He is a retired space
You are unmuted, Rajni, again.
Am I audible? So next we have Jignesh Bhatt. Jignesh Bhatt, sir, is a scientist from ISRO, Indian Space Research Center, India. Jignesh Bhatt sir has completed MSc in Physics Electronics from Sardar Patel University, Ballabh Vidyasagar, Gujarat. He joined SSC ISRO in July 1984. He devoted 36 years, 4 months of illustrious service with ISRO and retired in November 2020. He was the leading member of indigenously developed Standard Level 2 data product software team for India's first remote sensing satellite, IRS-1A, launched in 1988. Subsequently, he had been active member of data product software development teams of remote sensing satellites of IRS-1B, IRS-1C, IRS-1D, IRS-P2, IRS-P3, IRS-P6, Cretosat 1, Cretosat 2, Cretosat 2A, and Cretosat 2B in various capacities. All these software were developed by SAC team at Ahmedabad and then installed and operationalized at National Remote Sensing Center, NRSC, Hyderabad. Sir, can we have you on the screen? Hello, sir.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question for you. So, would you like to say something before taking my question?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, your organization for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts about ISRO and its projects. Also, I would like to wish in advance a very happy Independence Day to all participating in this, as well as those who would be also viewing us later on. Fine, you go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Chandrayaan 3 is doing a great leap, and we are hoping that it would land in a safer way. But before that, I would like to know something about Chandrayaan 1's mission objectives and its significance in India's space exploration journey. As you are a part of it, so can you share some insights of Chandrayaan 1?
Yes, very much. I would also like to inform everybody that today is a very auspicious day for ISRO, since it is the 104th birth anniversary of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the father of India's space program. So that is today, 12th August is his 104th birthday. Regarding Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 1 was a very unique project for India and ISRO. It was for the first time that we were venturing out of our, say, geostationary orbit, which is around 36,000 kilometers. So India had never ventured beyond, this point for any spacecraft. This was for the first time that we were sending a spacecraft, Chandrayaan 1, to moon, which is around 384,000 kilometers from Earth. The mission objectives were basically to carry out high-resolution 3D mapping of the topographical features of moon, which will actually then help in many such future projects if we have this base data available with us. Also to carry out chemical and mineralogical mapping of moon. There was also Moon Impact Probe, MIP, which was riding, piggyback onto the orbiter of Chandrayaan 1. And it was then, you can say, thrown onto the moon surface. But that was, everything was controlled. And as per plan, as intended, it had reached its final destination, and it had our national flag embedded onto it. So you can say that we have our flag already hosted in Chandrayaan 1. So these were the main objectives which helped, which would have helped in trying to further the space program.
Sir, one thing I remember, once our first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Nehru, said that India is a very poor country, so it cannot afford space program. And Vikram Sarabhai sir has said that India is a poor country, and that's why the space program is required. So his vision was amazing, and he has thought that India can also achieve in the space world. So with this, I would like to ask you about the challenges that you have faced during Chandrayaan 1, because that was the very initial project. And also, please highlight about the monetary and support you get from the Indian government.
To start with, Chandrayaan 1 project itself was a very great challenge, because we were attempting to reach the moon for the first time, and we had successfully reached, put our spacecraft, orbiter means spacecraft, Chandrayaan 1 spacecraft into moon's orbit in the first attempt. This has never happened with any other country. India is the only country who have succeeded to put an orbiter spacecraft on the first attempt. This has also happened even for the Mangalyaan, the Mars orbiter mission. There also we attempted to go to Mars, and in the first attempt itself, we were able to place the spacecraft into Mars orbit. So with this was a big challenge, and for launching itself, we had to modify our own PSLV XL launch vehicle with larger strap-on booster motors, so that they are able to push our spacecraft into the space at a greater velocity. Because what we require finally to escape from Earth's gravity is 11 kilometers per second speed. So that way, this was one of the main, you can say, challenges, and we had overcome it through modifying the launch vehicle with larger strap-on motors. So that was the first one. The second is, till the time that Chandrayaan 1 came up, India didn't have, you can say, deep space communication network. And this was to be as such, no, you can say, in place and achieved before we launch the spacecraft, Chandrayaan 1. So this happened, and we have on our own created Indian Deep Space Network in Bailalu, which is on the way to Mysore from Bangalore. And it is having two large antennas of 18 meter and 32 meters. 32 meters converts to around 100 feet. So that deep space network, IDSN, Indian Deep Space Network, was to be made operational before Chandrayaan 1. So this was the, you can say, the second challenge, and that we have accomplished indigenously, totally by erecting and then putting in place even the 100 feet antenna. This antenna is able to communicate for interplanetary missions like Chandrayaan, Orion Mangalyaan, and similar other future projects. Then, whenever we have Chandrayaan 1, actually was India's first science mission. A science mission basically is a mission where after a particular lock-in period, after the launch, to a lock-in period of say around 2 years to 3 years, the data will be used by principal investigator of that particular sensor or camera. And after that lock-in period of the mission, the data is then put onto internet for everybody to access totally free of cost. There are no charges for accessing such science missions. This is true for any country in the world or any space agencies of the world. So in order to have that data, India also didn't have any data center of that capability and volumes. So India and ISRO had put up and built, Indian Space Science Data Center, ISSDC, for processing and archival of data of such science missions. Chandrayaan 1 was the first science mission of ISRO and India. So these were the challenges that we faced, and then we have overcome by the actions that we took in time.
So thank you so much, sir. Sir, it's really great that Chandrayaan 1 has a great leap, and now we are hoping for Chandrayaan 3 to show the equal impact of Chandrayaan 1, and we all wish that it successfully land in the south part of moon, which is another big challenge for India. So with this, we have our next speaker, Captain Vicky Khatri. He is an NHS professor, an actor in Bollywood and Indian tele industry, a singer, also member and an official umpire for county cricket matches. Sir, can we have you on the screen?
Well, very
Welcome,
good
sir.
evening. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the elaborated introduction, but I just feel short of words when I say, because I'm a simple person who just likes to, make good relations and exploit more and more areas and try to give the best to my country. In हिंदी भी थोड़ा बोलना चाहूँगा क्योंकि भारतीय हैं तो थोड़ा हिंदी में भी वार्तालाप कर ले तो बेटर है. और it's my pleasure to meet AVM Pranay Sinha sir, and as Jignesh sir is also a well-reputed person from ISRO, and Meeta ji ma'am, and I think one more, if I'm missing somebody, except for Colonel Khatri, I won't say much because his action speaks a lot, and I feel, I think he's exited because sort of battery भी कम है. लेकिन when I left from Delhi, because I'm on a travel mode, I'm coming from the UK, and it's just been a travel ride for me. He wasn't that much, in shape, so I had to leave on my cousin just to help him out. So I think he's just exited. But as his work speaks, it's been a long journey since the army, and I've been hearing everything from childhood. So that was in our genes, and we just went ahead with it. And not a very long career, but yes, I had some other goals also in life, so I had to part with it. But still, I'm connected, be it socially or mentally or even physically when I am there with my batchmates, and also I get connected to them. And it's a lovely journey altogether until now, and I try to do whatever best I can do for either for UK where I'm based now, जो मेरी अभी कर्म भूमि बन गई है, और जो मेरी मातृभूमि है always India. जो भी best हो सकता है, I try and give my best, be it any field, be it acting. I do a lot here also, and India भी जब भी मैं जाता हूँ तो कुछ भी नेशनल उस पे बनता है तो आई ट्राई टू पार्टिसिपेट इन दैट. आई हैव, मेरी एक एड थी जिसने कोविड में कभी कहते हैं ब्लेसिंग इन डिसगाइज, तो मेड अ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड ऑफ दैट बिकॉज इट वाज shown between Mahabharat और रामायण what was going around in India that time. तो उसमें वो ज़्यादा दिखाई जाती थी. It was something to do with the Aadhaar card, the government ad. So I'm fortunate enough to be there. And besides that, I do singing. I do national singing also, and I do international singing as well. Cricket आपने थोड़ा बोल दिया है, थोड़ा सा ही बोलूँगा, ज़्यादा नहीं, because बचपन से ही क्रिकेट का बहुत शौक था, और उसी की वजह से फौज में भी लड़ाई होती थी फादर से. तो क्रिकेट पूरी तरह पैशनेट नहीं करना, अपने आप को आर्मी के लिए ट्यून करो. तो मेरा थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट क्रिकेट में और एक्टिंग में थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया था. एंड आई डू इट प्रोफेशनली ऑल्सो फॉर द काउंटी लीग्स फ्रॉम जहाँ से यूके के प्लेयर्स आते हैं. तो उसमें क्या है, क्योंकि मेरे डॉटर और सन भी खेल रहे हैं, तो बचपन से ही थोड़ा मुझे था कि अगर थोड़ा मैं जुड़ा रहूं तो कभी ना कभी शायद वो चीज़ उनमें भी आएगी, देखते रहेंगे और फॉलो करते रहेंगे, कुछ ना कुछ पिकअप कर लेंगे. एंड एवरी गेम इज गुड, बट आई एम मोर इंक्लाइन टूवर्ड्स क्रिकेट. एंड स्पोर्ट्स में भी थोड़ा मेरे को है कि you should be more interested rather than just studies and all. But yes, it's been a good journey as of now. Any specific questions if you have for me, it'll be great to answer you.
मैं सिर्फ इतना पूछना चाहूंगी कि आपने बचपन से ही अपने पापा को देखा है एज अ वॉर वेटरन. सो ये जो आप में जो एक पेट्रियोटिज्म, देशभक्ति का है, वो बचपन से ही संचारित होता है ऐसे फैमिलीज में, एंड दे आर मोर डिसिप्लिन्ड. सो आई जस्ट वांट टू नो व्हाट आर द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस डे इन योर ओन लाइफ एंड करियर इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ सन ऑफ अ वेटरन आर्मी.
वेल, इसमें कुछ रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है, बट इसमें एक इंटरनल फीलिंग होती है जो कि मोटिवेट करती है, किसी में भी आ सकती है. बट क्योंकि आर्मी का जैसे एक्टर एक्टिंग करते हुए अपने फादर को या अपने ग्रैंडफादर को और उनको पीढ़ियों को देखता है, तो वो उस तरीके से ट्यून हो जाता है. हम भी ट्यून हो जाते हैं जब हम एक चीज़ को फॉलो करते हैं. वो चीज़ हमें डिसिप्लिन सिखाई जाती है बचपन से. एंड there are certain things which pull you towards it and give you more of the passion doing it. तो वो चीज़ when we realized, and उस टाइम पे my father इतना बताते नहीं थे इसके बारे में कि वॉर हो रही है ये, क्योंकि वो खुद ही इतना अलाइन रहते थे, हमें टाइम नहीं मिलता था. और एक आर्मी पर्सन के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होती है, अगर मैं गलत नहीं होता हूँ, कि वो अपने बच्चों को भी उतना ही टाइम दे पाए जितना कि देना चाहिए. थोड़ा सा वो मिसमैच हो ही जाता है. एंड उसके लिए बच्चे फाइट भी करते हैं. इट्स नॉट कि बड़ा इजी लगता है बाहर से कि भाई ये लाइफ चल रही है, लाविश लाइफ चल रही है, या आए पार्टीज हुई, ये हुआ. देयर इज सर्टेन थिंग्स एंड एलिमेंट्स इन्वॉल्वड इन दैट. एंड होता था हमें भी कि भाई हम थोड़ा टाइम उनके साथ बिताएं, थोड़ा जाने. बट क्योंकि मदर ने थोड़ा हमें टाइम ज़्यादा दिया, तो एटलीस्ट वी आर फॉर्चुनेट इनफ कि हम वो चीज़ कर पाए. एंड जब देखते थे तो हमें भी वो चीज़ डेवलप होने लगी. एंड एक देशभक्ति की फीलिंग एक इंटरनल वो है, यू कांट पार्ट विद इट, और यू कांट से मेरे में ज़्यादा या आप में कम है. अगर वो है तो है, और वो जाहिर करने का या वो शो करने का आपको कभी मौका मिले तो पीछे नहीं हटना चाहिए, आपको इनिशिएटिव लेना चाहिए। यू शुड बी प्रोएक्टिव इन दैट, एंड आई थिंक जितना मैं करता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि मैं सेटिस्फाइड हूँ। मैं ये नहीं कहता मैं बहुत ज़्यादा करता हूँ, बट जहाँ जहाँ मुझे मौका मिलता है आई टेंड टू गेट इनटू इट। चाहे वो यूके में हो, कोई भी चीज़ गलत भी हो रही है तो आई टेंड टू फॉल इन इट, एंड आई टेंड टू अपोज इट। तो ये चीज़ है। और जब ये बॉर्डर पिक्चर आई, आई थिंक आई वाज इन 11th स्टैंडर्ड एंड इट वाज 1997। तो एक दिन ऐसे ही मेरे को शौक था, तो मैं देख रहा था फौजी फिल्म का ट्रेलर आ रहा है। मैंने देखा ये ट्रेलर तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है, म्यूजिक भी अच्छा है, एकदम से मुझे एक फेस स्ट्राइक हुआ। तो मैंने कहा इसको रिकॉर्ड करता हूँ। मेरी आदत थी वो वीडियो कैसेट पे उस वक्त रिकॉर्ड करने की, तो मैंने रिकॉर्ड किया। थोड़ी देर मैंने प्ले किया, मैंने कहा यार ये तो फादर जैसी ही लग रही है, मुझे काली काली लग रही है, बस यही है कि अभी सफेद हो गई है। तो मैंने थोड़ी देर में फिर फादर को बुला ही लिया, पापा आप आई जाओ एक बार देखो ये क्या है, ये आपका बहुत मैच हो रहा है फेस। तो जब उन्होंने भी देखा तो वो पहचान गए, और फिर वो स्लो मोशन में मैंने चलाया, एंड इट वाज बॉर्डर फिल्म के पहले एक आता था ट्रेलर, तो उसमें दिखाते थे द हिस्ट्री रीटोल्ड इन 1997। तब फिर बॉर्डर पिक्चर शुरू होती थी, और उसके पहले वो ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट ट्रेलर चल रहा होता था। तब फिर पता चला कि ये पिक्चर बन रही है, एंड फिर वो स्टोरी पता करने की ज़्यादा वो हुई कि ये क्या थी, कैसे थी। और दिल्ली में खुद मैं आरजे कर रहा था, तो मुझे चांस मिला, और मेरे फ्रेंड ने एक्चुअली नितिन जो है उन्होंने मौका दिया कि व्हाई डोंट यू कम एंड स्पीक समथिंग अबाउट इट, आपके पापा क्यों नहीं आते। तो फिर उसमें भी करा, तो इट वाज अ मोटिवेटिंग स्टोरी। अभी कभी बैठेंगे, क्योंकि अभी डैड की हालत इतनी ठीक लग नहीं रही। अदरवाइज जब वो जज्बे से बताते हैं, और जो एक एक चीज बताते हैं, पूरी रात निकल सकती है। आज भी हमने बहुत बार सुनी है, पता नहीं सैकड़ों बार सुन ली होगी, बट स्टिल वो एक पैशनेट फीलिंग अंदर आ जाती है। तो ये चीज अगर आपके अंदर है, आई थिंक किसी में भी हो सकती है, कोई भी फॉर्म में हो सकती है। कि आपको लड़ाई के अपफ्रंट में जाना, इट कैन लीड टू एनीथिंग। आप किसी को बचाएं तो भी एक एक्ट ऑफ ब्रेवरी है, फॉर विच पीपल आर आल्सो फैसिलिटेड, एंड उनको अवार्ड्स भी मिलते हैं जस्ट टू रिकॉग्नाइज। इट्स नॉट फॉर द अवार्ड्स, इट्स जस्ट टू हाईलाइट द थिंग व्हाट दे हैव डन, समथिंग स्पेशल फॉर द अदर पर्सन। और तब से ये था कि पहला था कि मुझे ऐसी स्कूलिंग करनी है और मुझे इस तरीके से जाना है, मुझे डाउरी नहीं लेनी है। तो एक एक चीज प्ले करती है, तो मैं उसके बिल्कुल अगेंस्ट हो गया। और फिर हुआ कि मुझे यंग एज में मैंने क्रिकेट के साथ पार्ट किया, जो कि मैं नहीं करता, लेकिन क्योंकि यहाँ पे एक देश सेवा का वो था, तो मैं क्या कर सकता था उस वक्त टीन्स एज में। तो फिर मैंने पोलियो के कैंप्स लगाने शुरू किए। फादर वाज द फाउंडिंग पर्सन ऑफ रोटरी क्लब सिलवासा। अगर आप कभी सिलवासा जाएं तो वहाँ कुछ भी नहीं था सिवाय रिलायंस का एक यूनिट था, जो कि मेरे फादर हैंडल कर रहे थे एज अ जनरल मैनेजर। एंड वी वर फॉर्चुनेट टू मीट धीरू भाई अंबानी दैट टाइम। एंड उन्होंने फिर पोलियो के लिए करा, तो हम रोटरी क्लब से करते थे। तो मैं हर संडे सुबह 8 से शाम के 6 या 5 बजे तक बैठा रहता था, सिर्फ पोलियो ड्रॉप से पिला रहा होता था। तो मुझे अच्छा लगता था कि मैंने 3-4 साल वो किया, भले ही क्रिकेट नहीं खेला हो संडे या सैटरडे को, बट वो किया। उसके बाद फिर जैसे जैसे बड़े होते रहे, ब्लड डोनेशंस में आए। वो भी एक अपने तरीके से एक समर्पण था कि हम कुछ कर सकें सोशली, रिगार्डलेस टू ऑल दी एक्टिविटीज व्हाट वी डू। एंड यूके में आते ही मैंने किसी को कुछ पूछा नहीं, क्योंकि ये मेरी लाइफ है। तो मुझे लगा कुछ करना चाहिए। अब मैंने ये चीज़ें तो कर ली हैं, तो मैं यहाँ आके एक वॉलंटरी ऑर्गन डोनर बन गया हूँ। और मैंने कहा मुझे करना है। तो आई डोंट नो इट वाज हाउ इट केम टू माई माइंड। तो वो चीज़ें अपने अंदर आ जाती हैं, तो फिर आप उसी की तरीके से ट्यून हो जाते हैं, और जितना कर सकते हैं उतना करते हैं। एंड आई एम हैप्पी बीइंग ब्लेस्ड बीइंग अ सन। एंड जितना भी मेरा सर्कल है तो उसी तरीके का रहा है। तो वी कैन ओनली शेयर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड बी ग्रेटफुल टू गॉड एंड टू you lovely ladies who जो कि support करते हैं। And IIW is all a very good part because I've been associated since last many years now. And आप भी टेक केयर कर रहे हैं इसको, लेकिन जो रश्मि जी हैं वो भी काफ़ी एक्टिव हैं यूके में, तो वहाँ से वो संभाल लेती हैं अपफ्रंट। एंड वी फील रियली ग्रेट दैट एवरी सिंगल इवेंट इज बीइंग कवर्ड, चाहे वो देश हित में हो या उसके अगेंस्ट कोई कर रहा हो, तो एटलीस्ट वी कवर दैट and we show them our power that we are also there and we know what is happening and we fight against it. तो
Thank
ये
you so
एक
much,
है कि मेरी तरफ से
sir.
मैं एक चीज कहना चाहूंगा बस लास्ट में, कि अब जो अभी इंडिपेंडेंस चल रहा है, तो इंडिपेंडेंस तो चलता रहेगा, बट इंडिपेंडेंस हमें दिमाग से भी होना पड़ेगा। अभी हमारी आने वाली नस्लें, आने वाली पुश्तें कैसे उसको फॉलो करती हैं, उसको कितना एक्टिवली अपहेल्ड करती हैं, जिससे कि वर्ल्ड में अब हमारा नाम तो वैसे ही अच्छा हो गया है और अच्छा हो रहा है, एंड वी नीड टू जस्ट अपलिफ्ट दैट। तो एक शायरी है उसकी कि फानुस बन के हिफाजत जिसकी हवा करे, वो शमा क्या बुझे जिसे रोशन खुदा करे। तो भारत जो देश है उसे उसे खुदा ने रोशन किया हुआ है, हमें बस वो लाइट और आगे ले जानी है। और जहां अभी हम स्टैंड कर रहे हैं उसे फर्मली हमने अपना झंडा यहाँ गाड़ना है कि हम हैं, हम हैं, हम। दैट्स इट। थैंक यू मैम।
वेरी वेल सर, वेरी वेल सेड। ये तो सच है कि हमें अपना झंडा गाड़ना है, और इंडिया अभी बहुत तरक्की भी कर रहा है। पहले तो इंडिया को अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्री कहा जाता था, आजकल डेवलपिंग नेशंस कहा जाता है। तो ये अपने में ही बहुत बड़ी बात है। और बीइंग एन इंडियन, आई फील privileged that I today in this event I got so lovely people who have a great experience for our country. You have done a commendable job, sir. Thank you so much for giving your time. I think you have to travel somewhere, so I'm not taking your time much. Thank you so much for coming to our show. See you soon, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen, and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Next, we have Meeta Joshi. She is co-chaired and moderated UN International Day of Children and Women online events as part of Justina Mutale Foundation for Leadership. She speaks at the UK's House of Parliament on STEM. She is an executive coach, accredited Strengthoscope consultant, IT project management professional trainer, and authentic leadership trainer. She has more than 11 years of experience in successfully leading projects in IT, telecom, and television production in the corporate sector, including with multiple FTSE 300 companies such as Ericsson UK, managing sub-projects in Sweden, USA, Spain, Finland, Ireland, Netherlands, and with Ericsson Australia. Ma'am, may we have you on the screen?
Yes, of course, I'm on the screen, and thank you so much, and wishing everyone a very, very happy Indian Independence Day, the 77th one. I remember in January 1984, I was marching as part of the Republic Day as an aero modeler from the Gujarat squadron, and my previous two guests, Jignesh Bhatt and AVM Sinha VSM, they were my seniors from number 2 Gujarat Air Squadron. And so they are also coming from Air Cadets legacy. So thank you very much, Rajni, for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here to celebrate this virtual celebration, which is going to be also broadcasted on IIW globally. So it's a privilege that, you know, so many years I've spent my formative years in India, and then I've been living in the UK more than I've lived in India now. So still the lineage of, as someone before said, Karma Bhumi and Janma Bhumi. So the connection still stays. And at the university where I serve as a Hindu chaplain, we are going to celebrate the Independence Day with the students, because students want to celebrate, and we have nearly 1,500 students from Indian origin, and majority of them are from born in India or Indian subcontinent.
Thank you so much, sir, so much, ma'am, for being in the show and the only lady speaker of Inspiring Indian Women event. So India is excelling in space, in economically, and in many other fields. So India is also excelling in IT sector. So can you highlight some point that in what ways have women in the IT sector contributed to the development of the country's technology infrastructure and innovation ecosystem?
Sure, definitely. And if you may allow me, I would like to share some slides, and so let's go into my PowerPoint and share some slides. So the progress of women in IT sector with reference to India. And I would like to go back to Vedic times, because my my majority of my role is in interfaith and is in Hinduism. So I'll go back to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.8, where there is a mention between two very well learned and scholarly people, Yagnavalakya and Gargi. And Gargi was a person who had a debate, and all this has been expounded in the four major Vedas, which is, Rigved, Yajurved, Ayurved, Rigved, Yajurved, Atharvaved, and Samved. So this is written in the Vedas, that how rishis and rishikas were discussing things which were to do with the Brahman, our presence, the nature of humanity, how do we relate to the universe, and also astronomy, astrology, science, anything. So that legacy is coming from there for India, for people of Indian origin. And hence, today what we see in Indian continent, especially the Republic of India, is people such as Devyani Ghosh, who is also, the president of NASCOM. Then Arundhati Bhattacharya, she's former chairperson of SBI, and she made a lot of changes to embracing the technology, digital banking, contributing to the transformation of India's financial services landscape. And, this is the simplicity of Indian women, that they might not be wearing the Western kind of, official formal dress, but it comes within that confidence, and that we are at par in gender balance with men, and we are, the previous speaker, Jignesh Bhatt, would agree with me that I had those kind of arguments when I was growing up. So that comes within, that we want to excel in what we are doing. So like Ankita Vashishta, she's a co-founder and chief executive officer of Saha Foundation. So all these women, which you can see on the screen over here, they are Nivruti Rai, she's the country head of Intel India and vice president of Intel Corporation. So they are role models for upcoming young girls as well. Ruma Batija, she is the chief information officer of the global pharmaceutical company Cipla, and she has led digital transformation initiatives within the company, leveraging technology to enhance operational efficiency and other things within her organization. So again, Rashmi Dage as well, she's founder and CEO of Fresh Menu. Now, this is nothing directly to do with IT. Still, it's an online food delivery platform, and that uses technology to offer innovative and fresh food options. So how technology can be, it's so versatile, it can be used in any kind of disciplines, any kind of business, any kind of field. So that's how women in technology in India have been able to, because it's a huge economy. It's a huge population, young population over there, and there are lots and lots of opportunities over there. And how, as my daughter says, gender is a social construct. There's nothing like gender. So how men and women together have contributed, and especially that way women. So I hope that answers your questions, Rajni.
Absolutely, ma'am. There is no gender role. Every work can be done. Only the thing is that dedication and hard work is required in every field. Ma'am, I have one more question for you. How has the increased participation of women in the IT sector led to the creation of job opportunities and economic growth of the country? As we can see that IT is basically called as a man's job, and most of the women want to keep themselves away from IT. So now when we are celebrating 77th Independence Day, so a change has been recorded in India's history, that women are also taking part in space, in IT, in telecom, in industry, in agriculture. So what do you think that women's participation can bring more job opportunities, and it can help in the economic growth of our country.
Thank you, Rajni. It's very important because as the previous speakers, especially Jignesh Bhatt, mentioned about Mangalyaan, the probe which was sent to Mars, and the latest achievement of Indian Space Research Organization, and we are, celebrating the birth anniversary of Vikram Sarabhai, the father of Indian space research, research programs. So on this occasion, we should also pay tribute to the women, the group of women who were instrumental for Mangalyaan. So these are women space scientists who were part of MOM, and it was a record-breaker orbiter mission. So this is an example at how India has progressed, how, like when I started working in IT and telecoms industry that was in 94 in Ericsson, which was in project management and managing cellular systems and special networks program of multi-million pounds. I was the only female in the boardroom, and that also a person of color. And I had to be on board with our clients, Vodafone, with Ericsson as well. The general concept at that time, 30 years ago, was that women should be administrators. And I was coming from an engineering qualification and had worked with television production before for higher education. So I had broken part of the glass ceiling over there. So it's every woman's, contribution which counts, I would say, that we have to be leader by example. So anyone who is an IT has to be a leader by example. They are leading, and you are, you're creating yourself as a role model in the process of doing your job. And coming back to, women in ISRO, they conceptualized, planned, and implemented the mission successfully, sending off the, auto rickshaw-sized satellite out of Earth's orbit, which Jignesh was mentioning before, that it has to be of certain velocity to escape the gravitational pull, and into Mars. And it was done at the first attempt. And similarly, Chandrayaan 1 was done at the first attempt, and no other country had done that. And this Mangalyaan was done at, by, it was 1/10 the cost of what NASA had spent on the mission, similar mission, to send a probe on Mangal or Mars. So it's a confidence which is required within the Indian women. And as I said, everyone has to be a role model. In your organization, like Rashmi Mishra is a role model. In whichever organization you are, if you give opportunities to women and they have the confidence, like when I was speaking at the United Nations this year in March for a side event for the Commission for Status of Women, the topic was how to bridge the digital gap and empower girls in digital age in decision making, because once you are decision maker, you can make decisions just not for yourself, for your people who are following you, your subordinates, for your projects which you are leading. So all these things have to come together. And to even expand more on your question, Rajni, that how this has influenced. So I would say this kind of initiatives which have been taken by women, the Project Shakti by Google, which is Ankita Vashishta has taken. So along with other team at Google, she initiated Project Shakti to help rural women in India become digitally literate and access online opportunities. So this initiative has empowered women and digital skills, enabling them to access information, education, and information is power. Education is power, and financial services ultimately, because finance is power as well. So ultimately it contributes to the economic development. So I hope, I was able to address that.
Yeah, as we are the half population of the nation, so women are not only confined to kitchens, and they can also be an equal part in the space, in the IT, in agriculture, in industry, and in many other fields. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your beautiful insights. We have our another speaker, Siddharth Singhal. Sir, Siddharth Singhal, sir, ACA MSc BTech, private bank auditor, anti-money laundering specialist, financial analyst. He loves traveling, cooking, playing badminton, and is a very, very, very proud dad. He is originally from India and a firm believer in India's growth story. May we have you on the screen, sir?
Thank you, Rajni. Can you hear me okay? Am I
Yes,
audible?
sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir,
Thank you. Thank you, Rajni, for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak in front of such distinguished guests. And I must accept this is a proper fanboy moment for me to be able to interact with proper army veterans and armed force veterans as well. All I can say is thank you so much to everyone for your service to the nation.
Thank you so much for giving your time, sir, and be present here today. Sir, I have a question for you. What according to you, is India's UPI, if it is globally accepted, and how can it be a leap for India economy, and it can change the scenario of India's development?
Sure. Just before I answer your question, let's take a pause, step back, and just rewind and think. Just around 10 to 15 years ago, we would not think of India as someone who has such groundbreaking, innovative technologies. India was primarily known to be famous to copy West, or has a tendency to copy West, whether it is in form of Bollywood songs or even products or services. India was known to make excellent and very cheap copies of whatever West is trying to do. And yet here we are with our own purely indigenously developed technology that is revolutionizing the worldwide payments landscape. Today, UPI is managing over 40% of the world's digital transactions market. Whether we are trying to buy a pin to an aeroplane, everything can be managed by just scanning a simple barcode. Now, to answer your question, I think in a very, very simplistic terms, I can say it's because UPI has got something for everybody. Just about 10 to 12 years ago, I would say the total digital transaction market in India was about 6 transactions per person, which was very, very low, as we all know. And merchants would have to pay 2% commission to every time you would transact with Visa or MasterCard to the payment gateway systems. Well, UPI is free, so that cuts the middleman out completely right there. And then I think UPI is also having something which we call as interoperability model, where it can just simply and very, very seamlessly integrate successfully with a country's current payment network and systems. Now, everyone must have heard in the news that France is going to accept UPI as payment system. And this went live through the Eiffel Tower. Well, that is a great marketing tool, I would say, but also that also gives us the opportunity to be able to gain that trust with the rest of the larger global banks and European banks and entities that UPI can deliver. It's a successful model. Another way we can say that, like in terms of like the war that's happening between Russia and Ukraine, we know because of sanctions, Russia is finding it difficult to make any cross-border transactions. And UPI has stepped up, and it has, and I think there's a team of scientists working on this to be able to integrate the current Russia's payment infrastructure with UPI to be able to allow those cross-border transactions. So I think this is going to be a real game changer. In terms of economy and what it can provide to India, well, I would just probably try and steal what Forbes magazine had to say about this. Forbes magazine actually rates UPI as India's biggest financial revolution since the independence. It rates it even higher than the 91 reforms that happened. So I think that's something that we all should be really, really proud of. I come from banking domain, so touching upon that within banking, fintech space, India currently ranks third in terms of market size after US and China. And we all know India is is the largest and out of the large economies, the fastest growing economy. And by 2030, India is poised to touch the 10 billion, oh, sorry, not billion, trillion dollars GDP level. With that, it is absolutely remarkable, and no one could ever think about that India would be able to touch $1 trillion just in digital transactions. And it is, majority of that is coming through UPI. UPI at the moment is contributing to roughly 0.56% of India's GDP. And this is going to be almost double by just 2026 to 1.12%, adding to around $50 billion to India's GDP, which is remarkable. Considering no one was ready to give it a chance, I think we have done a fantastic job. And we can see the results in India's credit ratings improving and also ease of business getting better, which everything adds slowly to the economy, which improves the growth, the growth in infrastructure for the country, the employability as well. So yeah, it has got a lot of different, I would say, tentacles to it than just economy.
Very well said, sir. That means we can expect that by 2030, India will become one of the superpower country in terms of economy. Heading towards the next question I have, under what circumstances India can use UPI and it can become a very help for the people who are traveling to different parts of the country, and also to the students who are studying in foreign countries.
Yeah.
Could you please highlight some points on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now, the problem that we have is that the banks, they take a really big cut or their commission in terms of whenever we are trying to arrange Forex. When you're traveling as a student or as a tourist, or even you're making any payments, I think the rough going rate for a normal bank to bank international wire transfer is about, you would pay around $10 for every $200 that you would transfer. So that is a big loss for the persons who are remitting money to India, which is one of the biggest sources of forex reserves for India, the remittances that we get. And also for anyone who is traveling abroad. So currently there are three ways where we can travel abroad and use the currency. One, we all know we can just take our cash and then we can just convert that. Obviously the banks, they take, or the actual converters, they will take some fee out of it. You can use your debit cards, your credit cards, and then you will still have to pay the bank a fee. So every time you will transact, you will have to pay a fee, and then you will have to know how much amount of money you are going to use when you go abroad. And you don't make any interest on it. You can't use that money otherwise. If you have any leftover holiday money, let's say. So I think UPI, what it does is it just cuts out the middleman, as I said before. Any person, if you have Indian currency, person from Indian origin, they can transact in Indian currency, and then person who is sitting abroad, they get their money in their foreign currency within their bank, and everyone is happy. So it's a win-win situation for both of them, both the parties.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. This is a very beautiful insights to know about Indian economy system in terms of UPI. And if the UPI is globally accepted, as you have said that it is already accepted by France, but we are also looking that other global nations can also accept UPI and make it a part of the world economy. So now I would like to come to our guest. If any of you want to highlight any points, you are welcome to speak. Anyone would like to highlight?
I kind of just wanted to add one more point as an example coming from my banking world again. I think UPI has got a lot of potential. I'm just trying to discuss like a future state here, where so in banking, I think what we have is we have a lot of dependency on dollar-dominated transactions, especially when it comes to cross-border transactions. So we use a system which is called SWIFT. It is governed by the US government. And what happens is whenever we are making any cross-border transactions, SWIFT, that's the kind of system that we use, which again takes its commission, whether you are trading securities, whether you're trading commodities, whether you are changing Forex, every time we will have to use SWIFT system. And it is developed in around 1970s. It is very old, regressive, expensive to use, and it doesn't even give us any kind of comfort over the modern day risks such as cyber risks. So I think UPI has got still a long way to go. But I think if we are able to tap into that space and we are able to give SWIFT, shall we say, a swift run for its money, I think we will definitely be able to see a big change in India's acceptance. And don't mind me saying this, I think it goes far beyond just UPI, because once I think there's an old saying where it says, I can't exactly remember it, but the world's economy runs on trust and faith. So if we are able to garner that trust and faith that people can depend on their hard-earned money on India's digital processing networks, I think we will be able to see a lot of changes happening in terms of getting more manufacturing jobs, a great push for Make in India, and even in defense sector as well. I think that will be absolutely fantastic to watch out for.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and we can hope that UPI goes a long way. With this, we are heading ahead of our time. So I would like to end our session, and I would like to thank all our dignitaries to be present here and giving your valuable time. It's an honor to be among you and to be able to host today's event. Thank you all for listening patiently to all our dignitaries, and I wish you all a very happy Independence Day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Jai
you.
Hind.
Good day.
Independence Day to all.
Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you.